other day I had to open the store, so I was up at like 5 a.m. I was over there standing in my kitchen trying to decide if I should make coffee first or put my running shoes on first. And that decision has basically been my entire business strategy this month. If you're building a business around a full-time job, some kind of retail schedule, or shift work, or just any other work outside of your business, then I want to share with you my actual routine, like what my thought process is when I decide to sit down and start working on my business. I feel like it took me way too long to figure this out, so if I can save you some time, I really want to do that. Hey, I'm Delana. I am a tech and systems specialist. I work over at Kit on the migrations team, and I have spent the last 10 years building the back end of online businesses for other people while building my own, like, around the day job. This is Systems in Real Life, where I'm going to show you actual systems and not just the highlight reel. One thing I want you to do as soon as this video is over, it'll take you 2 seconds, and that is to open up your work schedule for this week. Circle the days you're not on the clock, so basically your days off, whether it's 2 days a week like me if you work full-time, or 3 days, or however many days off a week that you have. Those are your power days, okay? And I'm going to explain this a little bit more when we get into the video, but those are going to be your power days. Now, I'm not saying that you have to work every single day off, but those are going to be the days that you don't have to worry about also dealing with the schedule or whatever is going on at your work, and that you can focus on your client work and growing your business. So I want you to block them off right now before a client or a friend or Netflix can claim them for you. Okay? I'm not saying that you can't enjoy those things, but I want you to also block off time for your business. So step one in building your routine is figuring out when your brain actually works. For me, that's first thing in the morning. I'm not really a morning person by nature, but I'm more of a morning person than a night person. By nighttime, I'm ready to just watch a movie and do nothing. But what I've learned is that when I try to work after work, I can't get as much done as if I do some work before work. So I've learned that after an 8-hour shift at the store, whether I open or close, I come home without enough brain power left to really do anything that requires a lot of real thinking. So I stopped trying to plan work shifts, business shifts after work. Like, I would get off maybe at 5 or 6 o'clock and think, oh, okay, I've got the whole afternoon, a whole evening ahead of me. I'm going to go home and eat and take Oakley out for her walk and then sit down and work on this thing. But by the time I got home and took Oakley out and ate and went to sit down for this thing, I'm like, I don't feel like doing a damn thing, and I'm not going to do a damn thing. And then I would feel guilty about not doing what I had planned to do. So in order to kind of break out of that, because it's not good to feel guilty about something that really you don't even need to feel guilty about, right? I kind of figured out that I can do work in the morning if I do it before I go to work. So I want you to think about when your brain is most turned on and start planning your shifts, your business shifts around that time, if and when possible. Now, I have 2 shifts that I could work at the store, a morning shift or a closing shift. And obviously in the morning shift, the morning is a little bit tighter. So I try to get up a little bit earlier on those days so that I do have some time to get some work in. It doesn't always happen. I like to try to get workouts in as well. And so I have to kind of think about what that looks like. How long is that going to take? How long am I going to need to cool down before I can shower, and this and that? And so sometimes I don't always get to sit at the computer right before work, but that's always kind of the plan, is can I get an hour in, or even 30 minutes in, or even 45 minutes in before I have to leave for the store. And what I do in that time just kind of depends on what needs to be done. Like, maybe it's just some content planning, maybe it's just some checking in with clients, or if I have a kit project, maybe it's touching base with them about something. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a whole full work session. It's just enough to check something off my plate that needs to get done. Step number 2 is protecting the window of time before your shift. Now, I kind of jotted down before your shift because for me it is before my shift. For you, it could be after your shift. So really what this should say is protect the time that you've blocked off to work on your business. Don't let something else creep in and take over. It's really easy sometimes to let that happen. Especially for me, I've started to learn that I think I have a touch of like time blindness or something, because I will sit down to work on something, get a little distracted, and then not realize that 3 hours have passed. Okay, and that's not that's not really a good thing. So whatever time it is that you decide to block off for business work, make sure you protect it so that you actually get that time in, and it doesn't kind of get eaten away by something else. Like, I'm not saying that that's never going to happen, because it will, but for the most part, you want to try to protect it. So on the days I open, I try to get up in the 4 to 5 o'clock range, not because some guru says that 5 a.m. is when all success happens. I've read those books too. It's really just because I need to build in that extra buffer of time before I have to leave, so that I do have time to do the things that I need to do in the morning, both working out, showering, getting dressed, all the morning things, plus squeezing in a block of time for work. And the only way to do that really is just to get up a little bit earlier. I'm not saying you have to get up that early every single day, because I definitely don't. And sometimes even when I want to get up that early, I don't. It just happens. But I think if it's only like a couple of times a week and your body can handle it as far as needing enough sleep and all of that, getting enough sleep and all of that, then I think it's a good idea to get up a little bit earlier. And I know that for me, with it being earlier in the morning, that is like the optimal window for me to actually get some work done, whether it's a little bit of client work or fixing something on my website or finishing building something in Notion, because I love Notion lately, or finishing a kit project, whatever it is. If I can get that done in that little window of time before work, then I know I can come home after work and relax and not have to worry about it. Now, on the days I close, I have a little bit more room already built into the morning because I don't have to leave as early. So the routine and the plan kind of stays the same, but I don't necessarily have to get up as early. And then whatever needs my full brain and full focus is what I work on before I leave. Now, on some days, you might have some other kind of time constraint, and sometimes you have to let that make the decision for you as to what it is that you're going to do or what your schedule is going to look like that day. So I'm also training for a half marathon right now, and on run days, the sun makes the schedule for me because I'm in Oklahoma right now and it is hot. Like, it is hot, hot. I think it's like 95, probably feels like 127 outside right now. So I have to get up and run before it's fully up, or else it's just going to be too hot. So on those mornings, I have no choice but to go run first. Like, I have to get up, take care of my morning routine in the bathroom, take Oakley out for her walk, and then come back and go out for my run. Now, during the week, it's only a 30-minute run, and my long runs are on my days off from the store, so that's not usually a problem. But I still have to get up and get out the door before it gets too hot out there, or else I'm not even going to be able to do it. Then as soon as I get back, then it's coffee time, because I don't like being up for more than an hour without coffee. I don't even like being up for an hour without coffee. I don't like being up 30. I like to get the coffee as soon as I get out of bed. But we don't have time for that when we're racing the sun, right? So as soon as I get back, I have coffee, I kind of cool off, and then I jump in the shower. And then after that, once I've kind of gotten ready for work, then I will sit down and with whatever time I have left before I have to leave, whether I open or close, and get in, 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half of work, depending on my work schedule. And then on strength training days or rest days where I don't have to go out into the weather to work out, I kind of let my mood decide the order. Like, in a perfect world, I would work out first and just get that completely out of the way. But some days, my brain just doesn't want to function without any coffee. So I will get coffee. And usually if I have that first, then I end up on the computer working on something. And sometimes I end up just kind of like falling into whatever project I start working on. And the next thing I know, a couple of hours have passed, and then it's 11 and I'm working out instead of getting it done in the morning. Now, on my days off, it's not a problem, but obviously when I have to also get ready for work, I need to try and get that out of the way earlier. My point with all of this rambling is that sometimes when you have something like maybe a workout or a dog walk at a specific time or something like that, sometimes you have to work your business block around that. And that's totally fine. Like, I'm not here to tell you to make like a super strict, stringent schedule. I'm just giving you some ideas of how to make it all work together, because it can be a lot sometimes. Step number 4 is to use your actual days off from your job as business days. Now, I'm not saying that you have to work every single day off, because then obviously you're working every single day always. I kind of tend to do that, but that's just me. If you have 2 days a week off and you want one to be a complete day off, go for it. Totally fine. But I think one of your 2 days off should be like an actual business building day, because you potentially have the entire day. I want to preface this by saying I do not have kids, so I don't have any other obligations in that area that keep me from being able to create the schedule that I want to make. So obviously, if you do have kids or family around you that you need to work around, that's another layer that has to be taken into consideration, especially regarding days off and time off and that sort of thing. Not trying to gloss over that at all. It's just not something that I have to contend with right now. So I get 2 days off from the store each week, and basically those are my 2 full work days for the business. I will work on client hours if I have any of those to do. I will work on client projects if I have any of those to do. If I have kit projects, I will work on those. And then I also focus on obviously my own content like recording and editing and sharing YouTube videos and emails and blogs and all of that stuff, that fun stuff, and also digital products, anything I need to do with my business. Some of that stuff gets done during the week in my smaller blocks before work, but the bulk of it gets done on my 2 days off from the store. So I have one client who gets a set number of hours every month. So basically on my 2 day, I split that up so that each week on my 2 days off, they get however many number of hours gets us to that total for the month. That goes on the calendar. And then if I have any kit projects, then those also get factored in because they don't come in necessarily at the same day or time or whatever every week. So I kind of have to factor those in based on when I get them and when they're due. And then, like I said, my own stuff fits in around those things. If I don't have a kit project, I can spend more time on my own content, and vice versa. Like if I have another client project come in, then I can spend time on that and less time on my content, whatever. But that's that's kind of how I work that out. I basically prioritize my 2 days off from the store with what needs to get done and kind of like work down the list from there. And if I feel like working after a shift, then I will let myself do that. I don't come home from work and say, okay, I'm tired now, I can't do any work. Like sometimes I feel like working on something or I get inspired to work on something and I'll do that. But sometimes the only thing that happens after my shift is I grab Taco Bell on the way home and watch a movie and Oakley falls asleep on my lap. I watched Remarkably Bright Creatures like that a couple weeks ago, and let me tell you, that's highly recommended. And speaking to that, step number 5 is give your evenings permission to be low output. Like don't come home from work thinking that you have to like record a video and write a blog and write an email, because for me, when I get home from work, like I'm exhausted and I will be lucky if I like check my email. But this was the hardest part for me to accept sometimes, especially if I worked in the morning, before I kind of figured out that my brain works better in the morning and I needed to kind of get a small business shift in before work instead of after, because I'd get home or like all day I'd be like, okay, when I get home, I'm going to do this. But then I'd get home and be like, I'm not doing anything because I don't want to. And I finally had to be like, hey, it's okay to not want to work tonight. You just worked a whole freaking day. Like, it's fine. So now I just kind of plan for that instead of feeling guilty about it. So like if I know I'm not going to have brain power after a shift, which is most days, honestly, then I just don't schedule anything that requires it for when I get home. I take care of Oakley, I eat, and I let the evening just be rest and recovery. And that's fine. Right? That's fine because we need that too. And I try to go to bed early so I can get up at 4 a.m. the next day. And then step number 6, I'm sure you've heard a bajillion times before, but I'm going to throw it in here too. And that is batch what you can so that you're not starting from scratch every single week. So for example, I batch my content on Sundays. That's because it's a day off from work. I can sit down and knock out YouTube, YouTube script, blog, email, because they're all going to be on the same topic. And then I throw in threads and Instagram posts for color, right? For community building and all of that fun stuff. And I plan all that out on Sundays. Now I don't record on Sundays because I'll be real with you. On my days off, I don't want to put makeup on. So I don't record on Sundays. I record on Monday. If ideally, if I have a closing shift, it's perfect because I will just get up and get dressed. I will get up and work out and get dressed for work and then sit down, and my 45 minutes to an hour before work is recording a video, and that gives me Tuesday and Wednesday to edit it to go up on Thursday, and that works out really well. And then I use pockets of time the rest of the week to get things scheduled if I can't get them all scheduled on Sunday, which usually I can. It just kind of depends again on the kit projects and client work and all this stuff if I have enough time to do that. You may not have Sundays off, but I would use the day that you feel like is your Sunday to do that, because it's just the perfect day. I've been kind of following this schedule for a couple of weeks now, and I've been able to get videos up every week. I think I missed the week that my family was in town, but that's a different circumstance. And I think once you get into that kind of a routine, it really just becomes easier to kind of stay in it. And as we all know, it's the consistency that compounds, right? Now, if when you sit down to work, you're bumping into tech issues that are costing you more time than you have to spend on them, that is what a Fix My Shit session's for. And so I just have to do a little plug here for you. It's 90 minutes. It's us talking on a video chat, kind of like this, looking at your project, looking at your tech, your system, your issue, or whatever is going on, and fixing it, getting it going for you. And then of course you get a couple weeks of email support afterwards. Like, I'm not gonna leave you high and dry once we're done. So if you're stuck on something and you want some help with it, just check it out. I'll put the link in the description, and I'd love to help you get unstuck. So you already have the hours somewhere in the week. We can't create more time. We know this, right? I'm sure we've tried. I've tried. Who hasn't tried? The system just has to work with the schedule that you have, not the one that you wish you had. So I hope that this gave you some ideas on how to make your system work better for you. Next week, I'm going to walk you through how to set up Notion as an actual home base for your business so that everything is in one place instead of 6 half-used apps. I can't wait to show you this. I'm super excited about it. So I will see you there. Bye.